Welcome back to the Damn Yankee Blacksmith Shop. We're not talking blacksmithing today, we're talking about firearms. As most of you know, I spent a lot of time in the military. My love of handguns goes a long time before that. I wasn't old enough to purchase one, but I still had a desire to learn about them. So I started studying weapons long before I joined the Army. So we're going to go over, I have a family member who's thinking about buying a handgun, so we're going to talk about handguns today. Safety. NRA's got 4 basic rules. If you want to learn them their way, that's fine. My basic rule of thumb is similar to theirs. If you pick up a weapon, you're picking up a weapon. Give it due respect. It's always loaded. It is a life-taking machine. If you don't give it respect, it's going to kill somebody that you don't intend it to. So give it due respect. Always consider it loaded. Always consider it dangerous. Now, we're going to have 2 videos. One's on revolvers, one's on semi-automatics. This is the revolver video. There are 2 types of revolvers. There is the single action and the double action. There are different methods of action from that point forward. There are different types of single action and double action revolvers. There's the hammerless, there is the cap and ball, there is a lot of differences there. We're not going into specifics. I'm going to teach you what single action and double action are and how to safely make the weapon unloaded. Now, we're going to take the single action. This is an older style revolver. There's still a lot of them out there. They're still made. Cowboy gun, if you want to call it that. It's a single action revolver. To make it safe, the first thing you need to do is keep your finger off the trigger. If the hammer is back, if you find one and the hammer is back, the safest way to make sure that that is not going to go off is to physically put your hand in front of that trigger, that hammer, pull that trigger, and let it down very safely, having it pointed in a safe direction. If you do it like this, you can slip. If you have your hand in between there, that the worst possible thing that can happen is that it pinches your hand. All right. Modern guns have an inertia block, but don't trust an inertia block. That's for accidents. If you're pulling that trigger, that inertia block isn't going to work. So put your finger in there, let it down, slowly letting it forward. Once you've done that, once the hammer is down, you can take the gate. The gate is, if you look at the back, you'll see a half moon area, and this gate is built right into it. If I take the gate and I put my thumb on there and I push it forward, the gate is now opened. You see the gate? With that gate open, I can see, if I rotate the cylinder, I can see if there are rounds inside there. If there are rounds in there, it's as simple as rotating the barrel up and allowing the rounds, as you rotate it, to fall out. If the round is stuck in there, there is a device built into the weapon to make that a fix. Now, I'm trying to get this where you can actually see it. Below the barrel is a pin right here. That pin is considerably longer than you might think. That pin is actually this long. When that cylinder is rotated to line up with the hole, I can take that pin and push it down And if you see, I can push out each round. Turn it, push it, turn it, push it. And that's how you safely remove the ammunition from a single action gun. This is probably the most commonly found in a footlocker that belonged to great-great-grandpa. And it still had ammo in it. You know, that's the kind of thing that happens with a single action revolver. If you've never handled a gun, at least if you watch this video, you'll know how to unload the damn thing. Now, double action. By the way, single action. It simply means single action. The trigger does one thing. It drops that hammer. All right? That's all it does. You can't do it again. You got to thumb back the hammer. That's a single action revolver. A double action revolver will start with the same action. A double action revolver, if you watch it, you can see that the cylinder rotates and the hammer comes back. And when it reaches its zenith, it comes forward. I don't dry fire this gun. That's the action of pulling the trigger and just letting it hammer or drop like I did on this one. This one's a little bit more sensitive. It's actually a work of art, in my opinion. But it can be fired. It can be locked to the rear. But you saw what happened to the trigger? This is in a double action mode. I can pull it back, or I can lock it back. This is much more dangerous because this gun has a very light trigger. So you want to keep it in a double action mode if you're carrying it. Single action is more accurate because you're not having to fight with pulling it back. But that's a shooting skill, and we won't talk about that today. To make sure that a revolver is safe, a double action revolver, most double action revolvers have a release on the left-hand side. Colt makes theirs a pull. Smith & Wesson makes theirs a push, and it'll pop up. Same way. Just place your finger down there, and you can push up. The cylinder is then visible. Point the gun to the floor and check your cylinders. Or check your cylinder or your chambers in your cylinder. All right. That's how you make a revolver safe. That's the difference between a single action and a double action revolver. That's 8 minutes of the very, very, very basics. Next video coming up is semi-automatics.